I love you and I want to remember you for always. We do that for our children. We do that for our loved ones. We do that for our family. Well, guess what?
Hmm.
You need to be on the top of that list. I love
Yep.
me. You love you. And you want to
Yep.
preserve that for yourself as well.
Hey, Tiomi, how are you?
Hi, Noshi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here and to chat about our book that we co-authored together.
You are an award-winning photographer and the founder and owner of Blair Ann Studios. In your chapter, you talk about how when you were growing up in Asia, you entered beauty pageants and you even won titles, but it didn't make you feel beautiful.
Back then I was 19. I was 18 and 19. I'm much younger. And for me back then, I felt like I had to be a certain way on the outside in order to feel that beauty on the inside. So I was part of Miss Chinese Toronto. It was a beautiful experience. I had a lot of fun. And I learned a lot about presentation, being on stage, because it was a live show. But at the time, I think I felt, although I had those titles that validated me, perhaps, but on the inside, it wasn't necessarily a match. I remember being first year university, and I would carry a big bag of my textbooks. At the same time, I would carry a big bag of makeup because I felt like I had to be a certain way on the outside in order to maintain that feeling. It wasn't necessarily a match between the outside and the inside. That, yeah, and that, yeah, that disconnect made me feel like maybe a bit of an imposter. Am I good enough? I think that potentially even highlighted some of those feelings that I felt like I had this image to live up to.
It was a beautiful chapter. It was all about the importance of feeling beautiful on the inside. Why do you think that's important for us to feel, and how does that help us reach our highest self?
You've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, we need our physical safety and being fed and have shelter. So feeling beautiful is slightly on the higher end of that pyramid. It's close to self-actualization, self-esteem, self-confidence. In my mind, that is sort of reached when all the basic needs are met. When you experience beauty, you experience safety. So when we cultivate beauty, especially in ourselves, it gives me a sense of feeling very safe. And when we feel safe, then we can actually get out of our own way and self-actualize. I think it's so important to feel safe and beautiful in our own body, because if you
Yeah.
don't, like, where else are you going to get that? You're going to look for external validations and other sources that provide you with that feeling. But once you are that feeling, then you
Yeah.
need less of that external validation.
That's so beautiful. It's extremely important not to rely on that external validation. And before you opened up your photography studio, you were a respiratory therapist. When did you know that you wanted to pursue a full-time career in photography, and how did you make that leap?
I always say that I feel like photography found me. I'm a trained respiratory therapist. I worked at Mount Sinai Hospital for 10 years, and primarily in the neonatal ICU. When my oldest was born, she's 11 now, it was a low-risk delivery for me and a low-risk pregnancy for me. However, 12 hours postpartum, she started having these little seizures, which, I recognized was abnormal. And very quickly, we were told that she had a brain bleed, infant brain bleed, 12 hours postpartum. So as you can imagine, as a first-time mom,
My
all
God.
the
Yeah.
hormonal, it is easier to talk about it now, but it was possibly the worst 2 months of my life. And so she ended up in the neonatal ICU, where also I worked. So she's overall in good health now because children are very resilient. After having that experience, I tried to go back to the hospital. After having my second, I had a difficult time going back to the hospital. While I was on mat leave with my oldest, I had a camera for years. I never really picked it up, but I just wanted to capture her. I wanted to capture her, and it never left my side that first year.
Yeah.
And as mothers, I think we all understand this. I bet if you take the phone of any mother and scroll through their photos in their album, you're going to get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, whether they're good photos or blurry photos or photos of the back of our children's heads. Yeah, we have lots and lots and lots. And I think fundamentally for me, it was, I love you and I want to remember you for always. And that's the notion of portrait photography or photography in general, is that you want to freeze a moment in time. So that's where the transition took place. I sort of felt out of love with the environment I was working in. I think it was very traumatic for me. And then I found this new art form to express my love for my children. And I think it was noticed by people. And then people started asking me, friends and family, started asking me, can you photograph my child? Can you take family portraits? So that's essentially how my journey started. That's how the transition happened. And it was interesting because I started photography as a newborn photographer, as a family photographer. And through that, one of the most common things that I would hear from my clients is like, well, can you just photograph my kids? Maybe I don't feel like myself, or, I just want photos of my children. And very, very quickly, within a few years, I noticed that I started to have a desire to push, especially for the mothers, to be photographed. Number one, we're always the ones behind the phone taking the photos. Or if we have a photo of somebody else, you don't love the image. So I very quickly had a desire to tell them, well, you need to be in the photos. 20 years down the road, our children are going to want to see us. And when they see that photo, they're going to think of their beloved mother. And not that you need to, I don't know, lose 20 pounds or do this first or have your hair grow back postpartum, whatever the reasons may be, exist in photographs. So I had a desire. And that goes back to fundamentally, I think, I love you and I want to remember you for always. We do that for our children. We do that for our loved ones. We do that for our family. Well, guess what? You need to be on the top of that list. I love me, you love you, and you want to preserve that for yourself as well. So now, over the years, my studio has transitioned from photographing babies to now primarily photographing women at different stages of their life. Starting from a very life-altering moment is usually when we become a mother. It's a very pivoting moment in our life, such as, in your chapter, you talk about after becoming a mom, you sort of assumed this new identity and you took a leave from work to be able to focus. And then all the choices that are available to you because it's a new journey. As a new baby is born, a new mother is born at the same time. And the focus is often on the child, and the mother gets, pushed back a little bit. So I want to bring that forward, and that every single major change in our life, whether it's, becoming a mother, is turning 40, celebrating a mid-century birthday, turning 50. These are all deserve to be remembered and document who we are, because we want to be, because we love this body and this skin that we're in, and we want to preserve it for no one else but ourselves.
That is so beautiful. Wow, that was so touching. And thank you, because you're doing such an important thing for women. When I read your chapter 2, I thought, you, as a respiratory therapist, you're breathing life into babies, right? You're giving them life, and you're giving women life now too with this. And I think it's just so beautiful. And how did you choose the name for your studio?
That's a good question. So Blair and Anna are my girls' middle names. I think of there are Aria and Blair, and I think of the studio as my third baby. And I feel like a lot of solopreneurs, mompreneurs especially, would think of their business as very personal. Going back to the initial question you've had, so Sarah Blakely I watched one of her educational videos, master class. Masterclass, that's right. So I watched her video and she said purpose. Purpose in life is, she considers, is doing something you love, combined with doing something you're naturally good at, combined with being able to utilize these two to help others. The convergence of the three factors is purpose. So for me, at my studio, I feel like I'm at that convergence point. It's what I love doing. But for different upbringing purposes, I wasn't really allowed to pursue, or not allowed to pursue, but highly discouraged to pursue a career in the arts. A career in the arts until, I'm in my almost 40 something, where I felt like, this is the right time. And then I feel like I'm naturally is very drawn to this and very good at, because I'm a very visual person. So anything to do with visual things, colors, packaging, photography is a very visual art. This comes easily to me. But when I would see other women that go through my studio and they have a transformative and empowering experience for themselves, it opens up my mind. It's sort of the evidence I need to see with my own eyes that this is where the purpose lies. So as I help others maybe rediscover their beauty through my studio, through the photo shoots, I do the same for myself. We have fun here. We have fun at the studio.
Yeah. I'm going to come and try it out now too. What's the most common fear or insecurity that your clients have?
The number one thing that I would hear my clients say is they don't know what to do. So the camera is one of those interesting equalizers, I find, that once it comes up, it sometimes can make a person feel very vulnerable, because you're asking them, do you like the person that's on the other side? Like, do you like the reflection that's coming back that you're seeing?
Mm-hmm.
So when I tell my clients to just be yourself in front of the camera, just relax and be yourself, that never works.
What do I do?
Because you automatically just go, I don't know. What do I do? Who am I right now? I actually don't even know who I am right now. So a big part of what I do is building that trust that, it's okay. It's worst thing that could happen is you don't like the photo, we delete it. And realizing that, again, this is an external reflection. So if that photo is not a reflection of how you feel on the inside, it's just a photo. So if someone else on the external world tells you you're not good enough, it's just their opinion. It's just a photograph. Boost the inside, empower the inside, so that those just becomes noise. So when I help my clients to sort of move past all the barriers by taking care of the hair and makeup, by providing a wardrobe here, I have a wardrobe here at my studio that clients have an access to. Yes, so when I take care of all of those, it becomes easier. Then I just have to meet my clients before their photo shoot, and I meet my clients before their photo shoot here at my studio and get to know them so that they're comfortable in front of me. So when the camera comes up, they trust. It becomes a one-on-one. And for me, I feel so present when I'm photographing my clients, because really everything else in the world fades. It's just me and my client, right? We're together. When they walk out of the studio, maybe in the beginning, they're feeling a little vulnerable and unsure. But after taking them through this experience of power posing and feeling good and expressing it outwardly, and then having that positive feedback, as I do as a photographer, telling them, yes, this looks beautiful. This looks great. You are beautiful. They walk out of there feeling that way. And that feeling cascades in their life. In other ways, it amplifies, because then again, you go out of this space, this experience, and you interact with others knowing this, and that helps with that.
Yeah. And what's your favorite power pose?
So my favorite power pose is what I call the superwoman pose. You take up space and you think of shapes like the triangle. So triangle in photography, it's great to build triangles. And that's because it's one of the most stable shapes. So make lots of triangles with your body. So I think putting your feet as wide as you can, feet apart, so you're stable, grounded, and then chest up high, opening up 2 triangles here with your face, another inverted triangle here, and then putting your hand on your waist. So taking up as much space as possible. Expansive body language is generally very empowering for anyone. So I do find interesting when the camera goes up, people sometimes subconsciously, because they don't enjoy, an average person don't enjoy being in front of the camera sometimes.
Yeah.
And they would start to lean back and tuck their chin back, which
Oh, no.
really
Yeah.
not the best angle. The camera
No.
only sees 2-dimensional. We're 3-dimensional. So all you see is this. So you want to untuck your chin, open up this area, opening up your, shut it down. So while we're feeling open and vulnerable, we tilt our heads. We tilt our heads, expose it as a way to signal, I trust you. You can trust me. So there are very interesting nuances, and we do it. It's so ingrained in our biology. We do it unconsciously. So we tend to, if we want to do something, we tend to lean in because we want to hear more. We engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you naturally engage, you lean in, and you tilt your head, like, tell me more. But we do the opposite when we don't want to tuck in. So you want to open up, take up as much space. Another interesting measurement I learned, if you were to boil down confidence to a single measurement, it's the distance between your earlobes and your shoulders, which I thought was very interesting because that makes you push down your shoulders back. You may think you're exaggerating, but you are not, because we tend to be more like this. So you go from this to just, but this is only if you want to cue. If you want to cue the outside, you are communicating confidence. You are communicating authority, right? So it's a tool that we have on the external that has the ability to help impact how we want to feel.
That was very educational. Now I'm thinking a little bit more about here, but that was really cool. What inspired you to be a part of this book?
That's a great question. What inspired me to be part of this book? At my studio, I photograph women, and I usually sit down with each one of my clients and we chat about their story, why they want to have a photo shoot with me, why it's important for them to be documented in this moment in time. Everyone has a story. Everyone, it's not just what you see on the surface. Everyone has lived experience that they would like to share and feel that they are heard and seen. There's many reasons why I wanted to be part of this book, but one of the reasons is that I want to tell my story, and based on my experiences through my studio, I want to have that story being shared and told. Another reason that I wanted to be part of the book is because I have 2 daughters. They are 11 and 8, and my oldest is just going to be a tween. She says herself, I'm going to be a tween soon. And I think in our current age, they are being so bombarded with social media, is a new set of standard of beauty, and social media brings the extremes of everything through the algorithm for them to consume. So I want them to be able to understand that, yes, all of those external things are happening, but truly the foundational core is how you feel on the inside.
Is there anything that you learned about yourself during this process, author journey?
Yes. I think writing things down for most have this interesting way of bringing clarity. Like journaling, I know we have a chapter on journaling as well in our book. And I feel like I'm someone that has a lot of ideas in my head, have a lot of thoughts in my head. It's hard to turn it off. We would all greatly benefit from our chapters in our book on meditation and ground techniques and journaling. So writing this chapter helped organize my own thoughts and helped me bring clarity in what I do, what I offer to the world as a person and also as a service provider. So it really helped me see clarity in all the disorganized thoughts in my mind. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. How about for you?
I think very similar, actually. My husband says I have basically a hamster wheel. It's like, a hamster going on like a wheel. I really wanted to be a part of something that helped women. And then when I was doing it, I wanted to retreat and do it because a lot of times I have ideas in my head. I want to do them. I start them and then I stop. And then this was like, oh, look, Machine, you can actually do it because the goal is helping women. And the goal is putting something out there that maybe even if one person finds something in it that inspired them, then I would be happy. So it was kind of just teaching myself that I actually put it out in the world and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I love in your chapter how you talked about the uncertainty of becoming a new mother, because
Yeah.
it's sort of assuming a new identity, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like often I don't even know the woman that I am before I
Yeah, I
became a
forgot.
mother.
Well, tell me, oh yeah, do you remember when this? I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Tanya in her chapter, she says
Mhm.
when she references something that happened before kids, she says, in my previous life. Like, that's so true.
Yeah. So it's a powerful new identity that you assume.
Yeah.
And you wrote about that uncertainty. And I think even, as a new mother, even hearing about your experience is a great validation, a positive validation that, you're not alone. There's other women out there that feels the same. And
Yeah.
for women in general, general gender differences between men and women is women need more communion. We need a community. We need more communion, right? So hearing that was really helpful. I loved reading your chapter. Look on the inside, right? Look on the inside. Don't let your own voice be drowned.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for your time. This was amazing.
Thank you for interviewing all the authors. We have a big group, right? So it's not so easy to bring 20 authors all together in one space. And this is such a uniting and a very cohesive experience for us all. Thank you for taking the time to do this.